So hi, how are you doing today?
I'm awake, which is an accomplishment. I was not thinking when Zach set this up. I work nights, so
Oh,
usually for me this is usually the middle of the night. I'm usually sleeping right now.
really?
Yeah, it's like although yesterday I got off at 5:30 in the morning. I was off last night, so I mean it was pretty good.
Really? Okay. What do you do?
Digital manufacturing. It,
Hmm.
I basically spend my day playing with 3D printers, lasers, silicone, resin.
Dude, that sounds like fun.
It is fun. I enjoy it. It's a nice counter release to event planning. You just get into the studio and zone and just work and whatever projects and orders we've got in. So put on some loud music,
Right?
dance around.
Okay, cool. There's not all that like big decision making and all that kind of junk.
Right. At this point, it's just going, that paint fill, the decision's about a paint fill, not about, $150,000 location contracts
Right.
or as in right now, personnel issues. So,
Okay. Yeah.
because unfortunately, whenever it comes to TNT, ultimate decisions come back to me at the end of the day.
Right. Well, so then in that case, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is James Fowler. I am the founder, co-founder of Tokyo and Tulsa and Dynamite Conventions. TNT has been around since the first year was in 2008. So this year is its 15th. Well, would have been its 15th year.
Yeah.
Actually, 2021 will be its actual 15th event.
Yeah, that's such a weird way that comes out. Yeah, like so many years down the line, somebody will ask, "Why is it started in 2008, but this is the 20th year instead of the 21st?" Well,
Well, COVID was a thing. It happened. So yeah, it's been a crazy year. We sat in this limbo for so long, and we couldn't make announcements or anything else. And finally, when we were released, they finally go, okay, we can postpone. That was it, it wasn't a relief that we postponed. It was a relief we were finally able to make a decision.
right, yeah, because the way it works is like the venue has to say, "Okay, you can't hold it, otherwise you'd be on the hook for the money," right?
Right. Well, and that's just it. Is yeah, that's what a lot of it turns into is, and for us because of the way TNT or TOK now, I'll stumble over that several times. The name change is still very new to us as much as it is to the community, but because of the way we are now, I mean, would have been a nightmare when we were just dealing with two locations and all that, but now we're dealing with 10.
Really?
Well, because Tokyo and Tulsa, Tokyo, Oklahoma, now actually is in Broken Arrow. We're no longer just confined to the Cox Business Center.
Mm.
Because we for a long time we were in the Cox Business Center and DoubleTree downtown.
Yes. I've actually been to the con a few times. I, funnily enough, only go on the odd years, which was cemented by by this year.
Right. But now that we are in Broken Arrow,
Mhm.
we've split up the locations between Stony Creek, the Performing Arts Center, Kirkland, um, Aspen Business Park was supposed to be this year. We'll find out if it'll be there. Still be there next year.
Okay.
But we have all these locations, and have been waiting to hear back not only from the venues, but
Mm.
also from the city of Broken Arrow, because if some of those venues decided they wanted to try and still have us pay the contract, we had to have the backing of the city as well. And quite honestly, the city was just being very optimistic, like, oh, this is going to be passed by, June 1st and everything's going to be fine.
Right. Oklahoma was very slow to react to anything on this kind of thing, so.
No, it has been. And then when we were finally talking about the decision, because at the time they were telling us that, okay, it's going to end up being your decision, we'll back you up one way or the other. And we started weighing everything. And at that time, whenever Oklahoma was actually in a pretty good spot overall, I mean, the April spike was going down. We were coming out of lockdown. Everything was looking good. And we were still very pensive about it because we were going, okay, there are so many rules that we'd have to put into place to make this a safe space.
Right.
One of our biggest things is making sure that everybody's safe, not only physically, but also emotionally, and, in all ways that we possibly can.
Yeah, because
account for everything.
Yeah.
Do your best.
For sure, because you would have such a hard time not turning it into a huge petri dish of like just so many people like coming up and hugging each other and everything, and then it would like everybody be so mad at the con staff because they'd have to come between everybody all the time. So yeah.
Right, and then the insistence of everybody would have to wear masks. We'd have to maintain social distancing, which in a con environment, in the best of years, social distancing just doesn't happen. It can't happen because
you have a line. You have
how many times is because what attendee density is something that we talk about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of those stupidly boring subjects that nobody thinks about that we have to discuss. Is basically how many attendees do you have in one spot at any one time. So, and being able to control the flow of traffic and all that. And in the best of years, I mean, we have problems with that without a pandemic.
Right.
Because, attendees want to group together and travel in herds and have a tendency of creating chaos in their wake as they, are blocking halls, blocking exits.
Standing, saying hi to friends.
Right. Well, and of course, you've been to anime conventions. There's also the problem of, oh, I'm tired. I'm going to stop sit on the floor, and I'm going to rest. Doesn't matter where I am. So, these are all things that we have to look at normally, and this year it was not going to happen. There was no way we could do it and say, yes, we feel like our staff is going to be safe. And it also doesn't help that as we were making that decision is also whenever we had several people across the country, including Oklahoma, that were attacked over mask requirements. So, the incident at McDonald's and at Target, and we're going, okay, this is also putting our staff in the line of fire who are going to have to stand at the doors and say, no, you cannot enter unless you are wearing a mask.
Yeah. That would have been very rough and difficult. Yeah, I can see that, definitely.
Right. So when you're, especially in our situation, when you're dealing with such a diverse attendee base, so we pride ourselves on making sure that we are inclusive of everyone. We want everyone to come in and have a safe space, enjoy themselves, don't care, color, culture, gender, your identity, your political beliefs. We want to be as accepting of, the left as we are the right.
You sure we can exclude a few Republicans? At the door, get checked for that.
Yeah. Need to see your voter registration card. but no, it's the original idea is whenever one of the considerations whenever I founded TNT was because of the diversity of the people. And I was going, this is a really good platform to bring people together. And it's a common thing that didn't matter who you are, you can at least bond over your favorite anime.
Yeah.
You know, let's have arguments over, you know, Black Butler for once instead of, you know,
whatever somebody's doing in office right now. Yeah.
Whole thing, right, is going on. You know, let's do something that, you know, is a bonding moment instead of a dividing moment. And that's one of our big things, is maintaining that space.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite spaces because I definitely love having those debates of like, no, Kirito's stupid for this, and this reason.
Right. I mean, come on. Let's get away from the big political questions and let's talk about what would happen if, you know, He-Man fought Iron Man. What are the statistics there?
I love this scenario. I want to know. I want to know how that goes down.
Let's explore these things. These are the real issues we should be exploring.
So you were actually one of the founders of TNT?
I am the founder. I mean, I'm the original person that actually decided to do it. There are two other individuals who I've been working with now for 15 years who jumped on board right then and there. And that's Melinda West and Shalea Merritt. And the three of us been the constant since day one. They were literally there when I'm going, you know what? I want to do an anime convention. So.
Right. Cool.
What it was is back in 2004, I actually owned a anime store called Darkstone Anime. I'd actually purchased this off of the original owner, built it back up and all that, and unfortunately, because of personal life issues and all that, we had to close the store. But when we closed the store, we actually started running the convention circuit to get rid of all of our excess merchandise. Because, I mean, we had a entire stock room full of anime and plushies and all these things. So we were wanting to work our way through these. And the more while I'd been to conventions as an attendee, I'd never been on the back end of it and really didn't pay much attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had fun. I enjoyed all the things that I, would normally enjoy at a convention.
Yeah, as you do.
But there's a different perspective whenever you show up as a vendor.
Okay.
Darkstone was closed in September 2006. We actually did our very first vending event at that time. We'd actually done a couple of vending events before, but they were all local. Minicon and a few others like that. And then in 2006 was actually when we went to Anime Fest. It was the very first big convention we vended at. And between vending there, and I had a chance to talk to the owners, because anybody that will tell you, I'll talk to a rock if it'll hold still long enough. So I got to talk with the convention owner, or managers, got to talk to the vendors, and started getting really interested in actually seeing it from the other side as a vendor. And you get to, when you're standing still and get to see individuals, there's a whole nother perspective to all this. You get to kind of watch how people interact with each other and their excitement, and you get to actually enjoy a convention in a different way whenever you're actually getting to watch other people enjoy themselves.
Right. You get to see the cogs and everything like a little bit more closely.
And, and then we were convinced that that's what we wanted to do, was create a convention. The year before, in 2005, we had hosted a block party for Halloween. And we called it Tokyo and Tulsa Block Party. and I can't say the idea came for a convention in 2006. We actually joked at the end of the block party going, hey, we should turn this into a convention. I mean, the block party, we had just under 800 people show up just for our block party.
Huh, okay. I had read like 500 when I was like reading up on it and stuff. So okay, 800. Wow, that's crazy. Where did you have that?
It was outside of our store over on Yale and just off of 15th and Yale. You know where that the Target is over there?
Vaguely.
In front of the Target.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we'd actually worked it all out where we took the entire shopping center and set everything up there. And we probably actually, for a total attendance was about 800, probably at any one time, because the event ran the entire day. Probably 500 is pretty accurate for a standing.
Okay, okay, that was the average.
Right, standing on site. Of course, you know, a lot of these numbers are guesses. We didn't have a registration system to refer back to then. This was a come as you go. This was a we paid attention to how many people actually walked into the doors of the store, but meandering around was really hard to go.
Yeah.
That looks
Just
like
everybody stay still for like 10 minutes.
right. We're gonna count. So, but no, it was. So we had actually joked at that time. We go, oh, we should just turn this into a convention. And we talked about it a little bit, and it kind of rolled around my mind a bit. But it wasn't until the next year that we kind of really committed. And then started my 2 years of just the most exhausting 2 years of my life, because I spent between 2006 when we signed the contract and 2008. I proceeded to get a education.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a friend of mine who ran another convention, and he ran me. I followed him on the convention circuit, and what we did is we promoted our convention that was coming up, but also I spent a lot of time with the owners and watching what they did, how they handled issues, how they arranged things, how they handled their contracts, and all that. Did a lot of, I want to do that. I definitely don't want to do that. But I want to do this. You know, picking out the pieces of these other conventions and going, okay, that's a great idea. I want to handle it that way. So yeah, I spent 2 years learning, and then came back, and then 2008. Surprised that our first year did not go up in flames, even with all that education.
Yeah, you had gone on a journey, you came back barefoot, and like, yeah, I know everything I need to.
Right, and then at the same, and then you walk in and you realize, oh right, every convention is different.
Yeah.
And one of the first rules is, you know, you talk about event planning. One of the big things about event planning is you plan the best you can, you get everything figured out, and then you take the plans and throw them in the trash. That is not what's going to happen.